Well, the summer season is here, race fans. We are now working our way into August, and championships starting to heat up. Of course, this coming weekend at the SuperKarts USA Summer Nationals, the Pro Tour will be decided. So we are in the stretch run. And again, race fans, welcome to another edition of the EKN Debrief. Rob Howden alongside David Cole, episode 8 for 2017. Again, thank you so much for everybody listening in and downloading us, subscribing on iTunes. Obviously a fantastic way to be able to listen to a little bit of karting discussion as you're on your commute to work or coming home. All you got to do is head on to iTunes and search for the EKN Radio Network. You can sign up and subscribe and download all of the podcasts as they get done. A lot more stuff planned for David and I throughout the 2017 season and, of course, into 2018. New shows on the drawing board right now. Some more that we'll be coming out with. Just excited to get this thing going. And, of course, very soon we'll have the full launch of the EKN Radio Network on ekartingnews.com. David, welcome to another show. A tough one to kind of fit in because we are extremely busy right now. I know you've got the editorial pen working hard on the laptop to get things ready to go, getting the previews out for this weekend's Summer Nationals. But again, essentially heading back this weekend to your second home, Newcastle Motorsports Park.
Yeah, I consider Mike Adams my close half-brother because I see him so much now. Third weekend there in 5 weeks. So it's been it's easy because it's only 4.5 hours from my doorstep. So I don't mind it at all. The Dismore family and Mike Adams are super friendly and supportive of the sport, and I love going to see them. I actually got to stop in at the Comet Kart Sales shop last time I was down there, getting a few parts here and there. And, it's good to see, the trenches, inside the trenches, of a real kart shop. I mean, they're at the racetrack all weekend long. Monday morning, they're right back at 9 a.m., filling out all the weekend orders, getting all the engines coming in from the racetrack. It's a nonstop cycle that goes on over there. Yeah,
I think it shows you kind of the vibrancy of the sport and of the Dismores, right? How they're just entrenched in it. It's what they do. They're, as you said, they're at the racetrack all weekend long, right back into the brick and mortar shop on Monday morning, and that's kind of that's the foundation of the sport. There's a lot of obviously teams that you can call them shops, but they're not really shops. They've become race teams. That's one of the big things at the national level now, where a lot of these teams aren't so much kart shops. They're just teams. They service a very tight, small group of customers, whereas a shop like Comet Kart Sales, they're here for the entire sport. I love that. I love to see that. It's great. All right, David, let's have a quick run in here. Again, we do want to thank you all for tuning into this particular edition of the Debrief. Lots to talk about. We've got some news to hit on you. A lot of stuff's happened over the last couple of weeks. We'll do our racing recap. A couple of events to talk about, a little shot into the Operation Grassroots. More great stuff happening with the Briggs 206 program. Of course, we'll wrap up with our racing calendar to let everybody know the races that are coming up over the next couple of weeks. Do want to thank our presenting sponsor for this particular edition of the Debrief, IAME USA. IAME USA East and West are the sole North American importers for IAME engines, parts, and products. IAME is the heart of kart. They manufacture high-quality, reliable racing engines with consistent performance. IAME fuels this passion through a worldwide racing program promoting karting as a whole with top-quality equipment. Their popular X30 and Swift engine formats are among the most popular in the world and the backbone of single-speed competition this weekend at the SCUSA Pro Tour finale. David, tons to talk about now. It's been a while. We haven't done a debrief here in a couple of weeks. You were able to roll out and do the calculations for the EKN driver rankings powered by Bell Racing USA. It's starting to heat up. We're obviously going to be, crowning our essentially driver of the year, the top driver in the rankings at the end of the season. Those drivers in both the stock Honda and the tag categories are going to get a brand new Bell helmet. That'll be fun to do. We're talking to Chris Wheeler about how we're going to kind of do a presentation at the PRI show this year. But things kind of holding station in stock moto, but a change again in tag.
Well, a lot of it has to do with the addition of the Winter Nationals. I mean, you're talking 2 extra rounds of racing at the top level. So that changes the number a bit. And also the moving of the Summer Nats here to August instead of July. So we saw in the tag category where Norberg is losing the 2 wins he had last July. He's losing that because we calculated it for the end of July. Well, so that moves Craig up to the number 1 spot, who has the Road Tax Grand Nationals victory last year, plus the Super Nationals victory, and what he's done on the Pro Tour this year as well. So that's jumbled that around, but it's still the same top 3 with Jake Craig, Ryan Norberg, and Brandon Jarzakrak. So you have the 3 guys racing for the Pro Tour Championship this weekend who are the top 3 in our driver rankings. So that matches up pretty good.
We'll remind our EKN readers that the rankings are a sliding 12-month scale. So it's your best finishes over the last 12 months. So as you know, every time we move another weekend, whatever you had in that weekend that's outside the 12-month is gone, as you said. So drivers last year who did well at the SCUSA Summer Nationals have now lost those, but have not been able to replace them with the new Summer Nationals. And again, this weekend's event at Newcastle, the finale of the Pro Tour, is gonna change things. And you know, interesting. To watch Brandon Jarzakrak right now, David, I know you and I have talked about him. There is not a driver, I think, in the sport right now on a run like Brandon. The kid is on fire. He's winning races everywhere in every different organization. He is going to be tough to beat this weekend.
Well, he's Mr. July. I mean, he did it 4 straight weekends. He was at 4 different events. Didn't get beat in a main event or heat race because of the F-Series does heat races. They don't do a main. He was unstoppable in the tag category, so he's on a roll. He's coming into Newcastle where he won 4 times in July, both once on Bridgestone tires, the second time on MG tires. So now he's on Iveco tires. So can he do it? Make it 6 for 6. You know, that would be something that would be astonishing. I mean, we saw something like this with Gary Carlton back when he was here racing shifter karts regularly. When it was the ICC category, I mean, he was the guy to beat, him or Alex Speed. Like, we would see those guys just win constantly. Well, tag, we've never really had a guy do that. I mean, we've had some guys like Ryan Norberg last year who came out and won 3 of the Pro Tour races. So, I mean, out of the 5, so that's a really a solid record. But, I mean, to win like this, it's something we haven't seen in a long time. So we'll see if he can keep going on into August and even September.
No doubt about it. You know, to have that momentum, we talk about that so much, whether it's here in karting or whether I'm doing my play-by-play with the Mazda Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. It's that momentum. Once you have that confidence in your kart, in your tuner, in yourself, you know, that kind of momentum is what will roll into this particular weekend. It's going to be exciting to see what happens. Obviously, results here are going to play a big role in how the driver rankings kind of evolve over the month of August. And, of course, as we roll through to what will be the big event, we talked about the Bell helmets that we have that are going to go to our number 1 ranked drivers at the end of the 2017 season. They'll, of course, use the results from Super Nationals number 21. And David, Superkarts USA opening up the priority pre-entry program for the Supernats this year, just over 3 months away from the Supernats. But again, that priority pre-entry program allowing drivers who have run the entire season with Superkarts USA, giving them the opportunity to get in early and get themselves entered, because we know a lot of these classes will fill up. We find people on the outside looking in, wanting to come to the Supernats, wanting to be a part of the Vegas Spectacular, but not getting entered fast enough. And that's something we just tell guys, if you plan on coming, get your entry in ASAP to make sure you lock yourself down. More top news here that you saw on the EKN news desk. Rock Cup USA moving their national final over to Palm Beach Karting. It'll be the same weekend, September 15th, 16th, and 17th. And again, 7 tickets up for grabs for the Rock Cup International Final at South Garda in Italy. Always an amazing event. And we'll see what drivers are going to be representing the Rock Cup USA program when they head to that event in October. A little progression. David, one of the things that has been part of the EKN program since it started. A look at the drivers who have worked their way up the ranks. We've seen so many young pilots advance through karting, whether it's the drivers in the Verizon IndyCar Series, so many now in the sports car ranks as well. Exciting. Anytime you watch a Pirelli World Challenge event or an IMSA event, whether it's the Continental Tire Series or whether it's the full IMSA WeatherTech Championship, David, it's just stacked with drivers that we've been talking about for the last 15 years.
Oh, of course, and this program is something that we've seen over the last couple of decades develop drivers. Joey Hand comes to mind. All these
Yeah, Team USA Scholarship. Yeah. I didn't mention actually what it was. We're talking about the Team USA Scholarship and the 10 candidates that they brought to Mid-Ohio for essentially the interview process.
Yeah, and it's a great way to get drivers accustomed to trying to be a professional race car driver. It's kind of the learning stages, when you get through this program. I mean, Jeremy Shaw does a great job teaching these young drivers, how to be presentable, how to present yourself to sponsors, and just how to be a pro at being as a driver. Joseph Newgarden, Connor Daly, Joey Hand, just tons and tons of drivers that have come through this program. Even Brett Smers, who we'll see this weekend back in a kart.
No doubt, yeah. It's just to fill people in the Team USA Scholarship. It's an incredible program. Long time and esteemed racing journalist and announcer Jeremy Shaw has been doing this program to support young American drivers as they work their way through the ranks. He's trying to identify drivers with just kind of getting started in racing, and he takes them, brings them in, selects 2 to take to Europe to race at the Formula Ford Festival at Brands Hatch and the Walter Hayes Trophy at Silverstone, an opportunity to run Formula 1600 in Europe. And what it's done for young drivers, and as Dave, you rolled out a bunch of names. You throw Charlie Kimball in there. We put in guys like A.J. Allmendinger, and most recently guys like Kyle Kirkwood and Oliver Askew. And just that experience just takes them to the next level to throw them into that realm of racing and the international competition. And when we see that these drivers come back, they're just such different individuals when they come back. Oliver Askew, I think, has been a perfect example. Been so good this year in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship powered by Mazda. Dominant driver to a certain extent, won a bunch of races. Real challenge for the championship in a couple of weeks at Watkins Glen International. And you look at the names, David, I'll just throw a couple of them out there who were obviously candidates this year for Team USA. Sabre Cook involved, Kyle Kirkwood, Carter Williams, Elliot Finlayson. We've seen so many young guys and girls that we've watched come up through the ranks. We're at Mid-Ohio for the interview process, and I know you. We talked off air about me kind of thinking who I think the top 2 are going to be, who the drivers are going to get selected. It's too tough to call. I wasn't able to be there for the interview process. Chris Wheeler was, and I know he's posted a couple times to social media that he has no idea who it's going to be, because when I talked to Jeremy and Chris and a couple other guys, Kyle Kimball from Mazda, he said it was an unbelievable group of drivers this year and how they presented themselves. And I think that speaks volumes to how this program has pushed drivers. They know when they come to this interview, David, that they've got to be on their game. Yeah,
and being with Kyle Kirkwood being one of the top 10s coming back, I think he has a pretty good shot of returning. With what he's done, and we're seeing him do it in cars this year now, being a very professional type driver. And I think he could go back and very, very well compete for some of the victories at the events they go to. But like you said, a lot of these kids have seen it now. They understand it, so it's easier for them to come in and to be professional and to be sociable and understand the job that they need to do in order to have this opportunity to take advantage of it.
Yep. Wild thing was a bunch of those drivers came in for the interview process and then flew out that night to make sure they could go racing again. I know Carter Williams, Sabre Cook, Jonathan Koitek was involved as well. I believe they went right back to racing again the next day. So a lot of racing going on, and for these young drivers to be able to get a chance at this opportunity, it'll be interesting to see what drivers are going to be brought in for the shootout section. It's going to be an awesome deal. And again, hats off to Jeremy Shaw, everything he does with the Team USA scholarship. Moving forward, David, it's actually some big news, and it was tough to hear it. The WKA canceling the Gold Cup event at Thompson Raceway. You and I have talked many times, David, about what needs to be done in terms of the WKA Gold Cup, the 4-cycle program. They had the WKA set up with the 206 and the Pro Glass class where they ran the lay down seat and the big nose, and there's kind of a move everywhere else other than Gold Cup to the more CIK style, where you're seeing the growth of the KPX program, the 206 Cup, of course, Canada with huge grids of CIK karts. Lack of entries was what was called the issue with the race at Thompson. I know that the guys at Thompson put their own race on anyways. They wanted to have some fun and keep racing. That was last weekend, July 28, 29, 30, or the weekend before, rather. WK saying the next event's going to be early October in Barnesville. What are your thoughts? Where does the WK go with this Gold Cup program now? That's a big hurdle, that's a big issue to have to cancel a race.
I don't think you really want my opinion.
I do actually.
Well, do you want my WK hat or do you want my EKN hat?
You know what? Let's go your EKN hat. I think I would rather hear, this is EKN. I know that obviously you're a trustee for the WK. You do your best to try to grow that program. I know how much the organization means to you and your family. So
I wear the one hat. It's just karting in general. I mean, it's
exactly. Yep.
The Gold Cup it's the problem where we have right now is with not just with the Gold Cup, but the organization itself in not being able to feed from the bottom up. It's a number issue. There's not as many racers out there racing the Gold Cup format at their local clubs. I mean, I go to the tracks in Michigan here, and it's all 2-cycle stuff. There's no 4-cycle stuff. Well, Gold Cup used to be big with the flatheads, in the 90s that we saw, and the early 2000s. Well, even just 3-4 years ago, it was pretty good with the animal program. And then just with the introduction of the 206 engine, everybody kind of switched over to that, and it's a more economical solution to racing to where you don't have to take your engine in to be serviced after every weekend. You don't have to make sure you're getting new tires every weekend. So there isn't really a definite answer on how to solve the Gold Cup program, other than it just needs to be maybe tabled and looked at building the local level rather than trying to promote a national series, because in all honesty, 4-cycle racing shouldn't be at the national level. I would prefer to see something like one big main race, like a runoffs type event for 4-cycle racers. So that way they can all, tune up throughout the season at their clubs, at their regionals, and then boom, everybody meets at this one event, kind of like what we see with the Super Nationals with top level 2-cycle racing.
David,
go ahead.
You and I have talked about this so many times, David. It's if a driver is selecting to run a 206 program, it's more than likely that they're looking for affordable racing. We're talking about an engine that costs less than $600, right? You can buy a race-ready kart from Margay, for example, for less than $4,000, right around the $4,000 mark. When you talk about travel and what it takes to travel, the expense of hauling a trailer up there, hotels, whatever it may be, the cost to race a national program from Barnesville, Georgia to Thompson up in New York, or Ohio rather, that those costs of travel kind of outbalance why you're actually racing the 206 program. I think at least in my opinion, that's one of the issues, Dave, you and I have talked about, right? Is it
that's
you're racing 206 because you want to save money? Yeah, it's a major issue, right? And
we're even seeing it on the 2-cycle side. People don't want to travel all the time because traveling now has become the more expensive side of racing, with hotels and even buying an RV and keeping it up and keeping it running. Yeah. Food costs, gas costs. I mean, luckily we've seen the gas, to kind of dip down, but now it's going back up a little bit again, at least here in the Midwest. So, it's always the travel expense has definitely gone up further with inflation than we've seen anything else. I mean, track costs aren't too bad from what we've seen in previous years, at least Sprint Cup or Sprint karting. But it's the travel costs that continue to rise and rise and rise. I mean, look at going to McDonald's for a family of 4, it's like $25 where it used to be like 15.
Yeah. That's right. And we're not seeing the people staying. When you go to the racetrack, they're not sleeping in the back of the truck or the trailer or staying in the tents. It's hotels and like you said, it's RVs, it's whatever it may be. And some of these tracks aren't even set up for you to place to put a tent. When I raced, I slept in the back of the pickup truck when I was younger, and all the guys that I race with, we all just slept in the back of the pickup truck or had a tent or whatever it may be. So things have changed a little bit, and maybe it's time for a reset. As you said, David, maybe it's an opportunity here for the WK to say, listen, you know what, we're not drawing even 40 or 50 guys to our Gold Cup program. Maybe we stop. Maybe we focus on rebuilding the foundation, because you and I talked about the pyramid. If we all talk about the pyramid, if you don't have a huge foundation and then work your way to regional, then work your way to national. Really, a national should be the top drivers of all your regional series, coming to go head-to-head because they're looking for more competition. Regional series is supposed to be the club guys battling it out in the regional programs. And that's why we do see some strong regional programs in areas where there are clubs that will feed that regional program. It's a basic hierarchy of class structure when it comes to competition, whether it's stick and ball sports or racing. You got to have that strong foundation, and I think that's where the focus needs to go.
That's what I've been saying, but not a lot of people listen.
Dude, keep shouting at the moon. Somebody's going to listen. Hey, Dave, let's jump into our racing recap now. We have a bunch of races we want to talk about. We'll start off with the Texas Pro Kart Challenge, and something you and I were excited about was that race in the middle of July a couple of weeks ago at the facility in Amarillo. So cool to see Gina and Mark French, of course, the promoters of the Texas Pro Kart Challenge, find this racetrack that was untouched. We talked about it in the last debrief that it's essentially a copy of the F1 track in Turkey, Istanbul. Not in their area. That's the one thing about it. They ended up with almost 60 entries. Didn't get a huge turnout for the event, but they did have guys come in from Colorado, from California as well. The people that came really enjoyed the circuit. Missing some of the amenities, of course, really just a track by itself, kind of a private racetrack. But the bottom line is they found this track, brought everybody out there, and a pretty cool deal to see these guys, really christen a new facility.
Yeah, anytime I've been able to race on a racetrack for the first time, and anytime you get to have that opportunity, you kind of keep that in the memory bank, and you're like, yeah, I was the first guy on that racetrack, or I was at the first event there. They even made T-shirts that said the first inaugural Amarillo kart circuit race. So it's to help, it's a great circuit to drive. I mean, we've seen some onboard videos. And it's got a lot of high speed stuff and a little bit of tight stuff, but it's definitely a fun track to drive. So it was really good to see Gina and Mark make it a spectacle. It wasn't just another race.
No, they do go all out. P1 Promotions is actually the company that they formed to promote the Texas Pro Kart Challenge. Driver intros, full barbecue, had some awesome trophies as well. You look at that program, and they've got some good numbers in the mini and micro Swifts. You're going to see them start growing that program. When you have good numbers in those kid classes, people start to grow. They'll move into junior, eventually into senior. That's what you want to see, that growth in those younger classes. Let's go to the other part of the country. I actually was able to, not even another part of the country. Let's go to another country, but the other coast. The week after that, I was actually able to finally make my first trip to Greg Moore Raceway in Chilliwack, BC. We did an EKN live coverage of the second round of the Can-Am Karting Challenge out there. David, you've been there before. I had not. What a fantastic venue. It's intimate, but it's a great racetrack. Lots of opportunity to overtake. What a great place, man. I'd love to have a track like that in my backyard.
Oh, 180 after 180 after 180.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely gives you the opportunity for a lot of passing zones, a lot of fun racing. I'm assuming the 206 class was a blast to watch with just the way the circuit's laid out. So it kind of gives you that back and forth type feel but it still has that high speed stuff, a little bit of tight stuff there. But yeah, it's a great track, and plus the setting around it with the mountains and everything is really cool.
And it's in town.
It is.
I think it was like a 5 or 6 minute drive from the hotel. That was just incredible. They had around 75 entries, I believe. Really strong grids in Senior Max and Junior Max. Great racing, and of course, those drivers battling it out for a Rotax ticket to the grand final. Again, just great racing on a national level circuit. The West Coast Kart Club was just absolutely tremendous hosts. But you talk about the 206 battle as well, and you know Derek Wang's going to be in the middle of the fight, but the funny thing was, so Dalton Egger and Brady Egger, the Egger family, of course, who owns Pat's Acres, they were there racing. Brady ran both days. Dalton took pictures the first day. He was taking the shots, and he also photographed the race on Sunday as well, but he raced on Sunday in 206. Well, they kind of hooked up, battling it out with Jacob Gulick, David, on the final day on Sunday. And, when we're out there, you're thrashing away. You're trying to stay with the lead group. These guys are cruising around like the carts were perfect. These guys obviously know how to drive. They have tons of laps, Gulick and both Eggers, Brady and Dalton. But it was one of those deals, David, you just knew. They were just it was 15-lap race. They were just cruising around waiting for that final battle, and they made it look so easy, and I was kind of a little annoyed and a little jealous because they were just out there making it look so easy.
Well, yeah, I'm sure this is one of the many wars that they've all had with the Guliks and the Eggers and the Wangs, and I mean, all of those guys battle it out at Padsakers whenever they get an off weekend or somewhere else, and it's yeah, that's the thing about 206. It's a chess game. I mean, you really have. It's like watching cadets or a Yamaha race. You just kind of buying your time, waiting, making sure you're there, but you don't want to lose a draft. And then when the time to strike comes, and you got to hit your mark and know where you want to do it. Otherwise, you're gonna be hung out to dry.
Well, I felt bad for Jacob Gulick as well. He's going up against the Egger brothers, right? So he knew he was in third at one point. He was able to get into second right at the very end. Just awesome racing. Dalton ended up winning on Sunday, but man, it was fun to watch, really fun to call because, of course, you just knew that the excitement was going to build all the way through to the very end. It was awesome, and 206 has become such a great part of the Can-Am Karting Challenge. We're back there. I want to say September 15th, 16th, 17th is the finale for the Can-Am Karting Challenge. We expect a ton of drivers. It's going to be a lot more 206s as well. It's going to be a big finish. If you're in the Pacific Northwest and you want to come out to a big race at the end of the season, we're doing EKN Live again. We'll do the live broadcast. Again, Padsakers, love that track. It's been probably 15 years since I've been on the mic there. So one of the tracks I went when I first started with the Superkarts USA Pro Moto Tour, Jim Murley and the Eggers were one of the first American families that I got a chance to meet when I was down doing events. So excited to get back to their track, and that's going to be an awesome race as well. I have no doubt. So we talk about mid-July with Texas Pro Kart Challenge, mid to end with Can-Am. You were at the USPKS race, the Hoosier State Grand Prix. Great numbers and awesome racing, as you said.
Well, yeah, it helps to have the event 2 weeks before the Summer Nationals. So not a lot, but I would say probably about 25 to 30% of the entries were there, mainly to tune up for this coming weekend's event. But you throw in the regular USPKS drivers that are already there, and it was pretty stout fields, especially in the IME divisions. Yamaha's kind of lacking in the junior and cadet, but they still had some good races. But the pro category, again, we talked about with Jarzakrak sweeping both, and then we had Alex Bertignoli sweeping the KA 100 class. So that continues to draw in good numbers, has great racing. I mean, you got, probably anywhere between 6 to 10 guys in that field that could win, and it just boils down to having the right cart set up and knowing when to make the right moves, and it's fun to watch. It's kind of got a little bit more speed than the Yamaha cans, and a little bit slower than the X30s, but it's fun to watch, definitely, for sure.
Is that going to be a rivalry? Are we talking about Jarzakrak versus Bertignoli this weekend as well? Praga versus Merlin?
I don't think so much this weekend. I think for the finale that they're going to have in September at Autobahn Country Club, that's going to be the final showdown between the two. They've been going back and forth in both categories because Jarzakrak's been racing K100 as well too. It's just Bertignoli just happened to have his number this weekend, so now the championship there is super tight. Jarzakrak pretty much has it wrapped up in the X30 class. So he won the ticket there to go to the IME International Final. So he's joining Max Kowalski, who was the top junior driver after the third event, and Santino
Trissini.
Yes, that's who I was trying to say. He is the mini guy along with Brent Cruz. So those four guys are going to represent Team USA and the USPKS race in France this October. But it's all around, the USPKS provides some great racing.
It looked good. I was following it. Of course, I was at Mid-Ohio with IndyCar and the Mazda Road to Indy. I was kind of following it, of course, watching on Twitter all the time and Facebook. Great way to see who was winning races. Just kept looking over while I was on the mic myself, and that's just such a great series, and it's good to get some good momentum. And again, I love seeing the rivalries develop between the teams, between the drivers, and again, as you said, Autobahn, the finale for the USPKS in late September. You'll be there with Tim Coyan to do the EKN live broadcast from that event. But that is the racing recap for this edition of the EKN Debrief. Lots of just a fantastic racing all the way through July. Of course, we're into August. September, everything kind of comes to a head, I think. Of course, though, the Superkarts USA Pro Tour will challenge their champions here this coming weekend. Again, adding more drivers to go to the Miami World Final, as you talked about, already done with the USPKS number of drivers getting those tickets already. David, let's, as we do for every debrief, a little jump in here to the Operation Grassroots. And we talk regional, we talk national racing, but we always want to go back to that foundation. We've discussed that already. Of course, Operation Grassroots, kind of our hashtag effort that we've done at ekartingnews.com to continue to promote the Briggs 206 program. And really some awesome news coming out of Italy, or out of whether it's CRG Nordam down in Texas. CRG and Briggs & Stratton forming a partnership with a new kind of a spec package, the CRG FS4 chassis and the Briggs 206 engine. They're going to take that package to Europe and see if they can't kind of fuel growth of the affordable foundation over there as well. I think that's super exciting because we're already seeing what it's doing here in North America. It could really be a big thing, I think, for Europe as well.
Well, it's just like Europe to copy America. I mean, we created karting to begin with. Come on, you know. No.
Wow. Drop the gauntlet.
Just having fun. Well, it's funny because we always have the argument, well, we don't want to be like Europe, but, you know, so we start our things. A lot of things we copy from them already, so it's just funny. Anyway.
I like it. This is an awesome program.
You know, talking with you and Jeffrey from CRG, there's a big gap between that rental cart where guys just go to a kart track, get in the rentals, drive around, and club racing. I mean, club racing is very, very high level up there. I mean, it's not as promoted as much as we see online, but he said the amount of money that people put in for club racing, it's just astronomical. So he's seen what the Briggs & Stratton program has done over here with bringing in more and more people into the sport. I mean, that's as industry members, that's what you want to do. You want to bring more and more people into the sport. So they have their rental cart program already set up at a lot of different tracks with their rental cart line that they have. So if they add this into it, it just gives them another step to go and to enjoy something that's with spec tires, spec clutch, spec exhaust, other different unique updates that they're going to do to the cart and the engine, just to make it a kind of a sexy package, because we know Europeans love to have something sexy with their racing automobiles.
Well, and I love the fact, because I know that with the CRG and they have an awesome rental cart program. That we're going to actually get a chance to go down to Sarah Fisher's track in Speedway, Indiana, in Indianapolis there in the off season, and probably at the PRI show to sample the CRGs they have at that indoor track, and that's the whole CRG line. I think, like you said, that's that one opportunity for these guys to come out of those rental carts and not make that big jump to regional racing or even club level, track level racing, whatever it may be. And you said they don't have a lot of those. We know that they don't have that cheap, affordable level that we do have here, whether it is with the KT100, which we know is an affordable level to jump into as well in the United States. They really don't have that in Europe, and they run the top level X30, and that's what you're running at your club track events. So to have this 206 program,
some clubs have the OK engines. That's their club engine. So yeah, you're right. We have the Yamaha. We've had Briggs for a long time. They just don't have that kind of medium ground where people can come in. Yeah. Something that's comparable to rental carts even. I mean, that's what the Briggs 206 does.
It's going to be a great deal. We'll keep an eye on it, folks. We'll let you know how things are going. We're going to obviously stay in connection with you and Jeffrey from CRG Nordam. But again, just awesome to see CRG step up and do something like this, put together a package, and I think it's going to be something that can help build that grassroots foundation in Europe. We'll keep an eye on it for sure and keep you updated here on the EKN Debrief. Moving now into it, David, we're in the stretch run here. The racing calendar presented this particular show by Zero Error Racing. We've got some events to talk to you about, folks. First of all, we'll give a big thank you to Zero Error Racing for being one of the partners at ekartingnews.com. Zero Error Racing is among the made-in-the-USA companies that support motorsports and karting with unique products for racers of all levels. Owner Derek Fitzgerald is always developing and researching cutting-edge products for all facets of motorsports. Zero Error manufactures karting axles and accessories like hubs, axle keys, sprockets, and billet brake and gear hubs, as well as battery boxes and motor mounts. Make sure to visit their website at zeroerror.com, zero-error.com. and follow them on Facebook. David, looking down the schedule here, we got a lot of EKN Live events, EKN Trackside Live, where either you and I we're split or together. Tons of stuff going in August, and we're getting ready to get back at it. Of course, this weekend, the Superkarts USA Pro Tour Summer Nationals, live play-by-play on ekartingnews.com/live. Thrilled to have 3 broadcast partners with us as well, Russell Karting Specialties and Parolin, Nitro Kart, and Dallas Karting Complex and Sodi Kart on board with us this weekend here. But to be honest, this is a packed weekend. You can go to Newcastle and do Superkarts USA. You can do some street racing. And you can do some road racing. This is one of the more packed and more diverse weekends, I think, of the summer.
Yeah, it wasn't on purpose. As we know, things happen. I know. And SCUSA moving their date, that kind of ruffled up some feathers, but it is what it is, and we're moving forward. But yeah, a lot of the grassroots racers, Operation Grassroots guys, are going to Elkhart Grand Prix, the revival of that famed street race that in northern Indiana, that a lot of veterans in the sport have been to in the past. This year now it's a new program, the DUSAC karting, and so we'll see how the numbers are and the fun factor that we hear back from that event. But also Black.
Yeah, wishing them the best, of course, right, Dave? Like that's Mike Burrell and that whole crew working hard to make that event something that's going to be around for a number of years, for a long time, and to see it come back, I love it, and I think they're going to get great numbers, and it's awesome to be. We're going to go out. There's obviously over 250 people racing at the Summer Nationals in Newcastle, but this is a different group of racers, and I'm hoping they get great numbers as well.
Yeah, and it's something for the community. It's a great exposure opportunity for the sport, because a lot of people in the area that were kids saw the original Elkhart Grand Prix. Now they're going to be able to take their kids to it. So I think it's something that's going to be great for the sport. But and then in Illinois this weekend, on the border of Wisconsin at Blackhawk Farms Raceway, is the Championship Enduro Series, their annual August event. It's normally a great time on and off the track.
Moving then to August 18th, 19th, 20th, Rock Cup USA Midwest will run at Newcastle. The Route 66 Sprint Series, definitely one of the top regional programs in the country, set to go at Audubon Country Club. Another fantastic series, the Gear Up F Series, running at F1 Boston. This is all on August 18th, 19th, and 20th. The Northwest Gold Cup, a little bit of confusion surrounding this race at Sumas International Motorsports Academy up in Sumas, Washington there. It was going to be a Northwest Gold Cup, then it wasn't going to be a Gold Cup. Now I believe they're back on board with it being a Gold Cup, so we'll stick with that at this point. And last but not least, the LAKC, the Los Angeles Karting Championship, of course, at Cal Speed for another round of their championship. Move forward another weekend, a couple weeks from now, August 25th, 26th. David, you'll be heading up to Wolf Paving Raceway, Dousman, Wisconsin, Badger for the WK Manufacturers Cup Series. Another EKN Trackside Live program.
It'll be great to hit there because they have the new addition now to the racetrack. So we'll be utilizing that for the WK race. And so I'm excited to see how that turns out with the racing there. I mean, we always have great racing there. It's a tight, old-school track. Kind of like your Goodwood up there in Ontario.
It is.
Very similar. I like going there. It's a great area to go to. Oconomowoc, home of Bobby Wilson.
That's right. And one more week after that, and I'll say this with a little sadness because I can't go again this year, but the annual Rock Island Grand Prix Labor Day weekend in Rock Island, Illinois. Again, David will be there with Tim Coyen for the EKN Trackside Live coverage, September 2nd and 3rd. And not only that, David, but you're back behind the wheel at the Rock, trying to get that elusive Rock.
I got to win that damn thing.
You got to win that Rock.
It's going to be well. That's why I think I'm going to gain weight this year and run Masters and try and take down that Tony Nielsen guy.
I think it's a great idea. I think you should run that class.
I'm working on it.
You got the Illumino style dialed in. You went testing at East Lansing, got the thing ready to rock. You're good at Rock Island, though. We know that.
It was great in the left-hander, so I got that going for me.
That's the thing. Then you're set. Now, Rock Island's always exciting, and looking forward to some good numbers. It's been great, Dave. I haven't been able to be there. I'm at Watkins Glen with IndyCar and Road to Indy, but to see kind of the resurgence, and again, where's it coming from? That grassroots level, right? That 206 program that just, whether it's the different categories they have, whether it's the Masters category, whether it's the massive Margay Ignite Challenge. It's just good to see the resurgent coming back here for the Rock Island Grand Prix.
Well, even in the shifter categories with the addition of the ADCC shifter class there, just guys that want to go fast. I mean, Josh Lane's really behind the shifter program there, getting guys he's flat out calling them out on Facebook. I mean, that's the great thing. He's like, hey, come race. I don't care. We're all going to have the same set of tires, this and that. Let's just go and have fun. And that's what the Rock Island really is about, is just going there, being able to race on the city streets, having a blast off the streets, and it's really grassroots racing at its best.
Yeah, Dave, collectively, you and I probably hit, 30 karting events throughout the year. It's probably one of the best times you have. It's the good thing about Rock Island, of course, the hotel's right downtown. Great restaurants, the concerts on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. But it's just the atmosphere. It's more laid back. It's not it's not quite as hectic as a hardcore SCUSA weekend or whatever it may be. It's just such a great time. Rock Island. If you've never been there, that's a bucket list race. You have got to come and run Rock Island.
Yeah, you ask the guys from the Northwest that came down with Italian Motors. Ask Ethan Wilson in California, who came out and ran the last 2 years. Ask all the guys in Texas that have come up to race the shifter kart classes. It's just guys from the Northeast, guys from Florida, guys from Bermuda, everywhere. Everybody comes to the Rock Island at least once. You got to try it.
Definitely do it, folks. That's Labor Day weekend, September 2nd and 3rd in Rock Island, Illinois. Fantastic event. Well, Dave, that's going to wrap things up. The racing calendar presented by Zero Error Racing. We do want to give a big thanks to our presenting sponsors here, this particular broadcast, IAME USA. You can head to IAMEUSAEast.com or IAMEUSAWest.com if you want to have a look at the lineup of Swift and X30 and KA products. Zero Error Racing, again, big thanks to them at zero-error.com. And David, we're looking good here, right around the 42-minute mark. It'll be 45 when we're all said and done. Obviously, a bit of a preview. We're going to have this thing out before the SCUSA Summer Nationals. We got a lot of stuff happening for that. We're going to add a little bit of little video reports at the end of each day. A lot of great social media to be able to connect people that can't be at the track. But the bottom line is we're going to crown some champions in Pro Tour action here this weekend.
9 categories, 9 champions. It's going to be an amazing weekend. I haven't looked at the weather yet, so I don't want to jinx anything. But the track I know has been busy the last 2 weeks. They had their SCUSA warm-up weekend this weekend at Newcastle, so they had about 50 guys, I think they said, came out and practiced. So a lot of people have been putting a lot of effort and time into making sure they come out the Summer Nationals as either a champion or even a winner, because there's going to be a lot of guys that are going there just to win. I mean, just to get a Summer Nationals victory on your resume is definitely going to be something you want to do.
And David, the cool thing about this year, obviously the adjustment for the Pro Tour this year where they took the Super Nationals out. In years past, in fact, the first 6 years of the program, the Super Nationals was always the finale. And you had drivers going there as the champion having to battle with guys that were just trying to win the Super Nationals. And that's a different thing this weekend, isn't it? The fact that everybody's in this deal. You said guys are going to be trying to go for the race win, but it's not like all the different Europeans, Canadians, South Americans coming into the Super Nats and it's, an all-out war. Well, there's guys that are like, I'm trying to win a championship here at the same time. This frees everything up. They can get the job done on Sunday.
I think the only exception to that is X30 Senior, because we have Canadians coming down. We have some Europeans coming over with
big field,
with a big field of almost 60 guys. It's that class is going to be, I think, a barn burner. And guys, I mean, it's going to be heated. Let's just call it mildly. It's going to be a heated weekend in that category. I think all the other ones, it's going to be, your typical hard racing guys going after it, trying to win, but nothing too crazy. But something that me and you have kind of talked about off the air is no pushback bumpers this weekend. We heard a lot of people asking for it, but I think SCUSA is just going to stick with their guns and try and make sure they assess the penalties that they need to assess and try and get as many eyes on the racetrack as possible to watch it, especially with the video marshaling system. So we'll see how that's done with Newcastle being so big as it is.
Well, SuperKarts USA has sampled it, as we know, David. They've been running the pushback in a couple of the categories in the Pro Kart Challenge and the LAKC. I don't think they've come to the decision that that's what they want to do yet, but they have sampled it and are working with it. They're not going to run it here this weekend, so yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see what the opening corner is. Now, you've done a couple of events. You did the USPKS where they did it, and it's been working for their starts. I was at the Can-Am Karting Challenge events at both Tri-Cities and Chilliwack. Starts were fantastic there as well. I like the pushback, but again, the concept is to try to find the right medium and try to find the right balance point, and SCUSA just not quite ready to pull the trigger on it completely. That will wrap things up, folks. If you want to tune in, we'll be live all weekend long. Of course, we'll do final practice on Friday from Newcastle, EKN Live, which will be brought to you this weekend by our broadcast partners, Russell Karting in Parolin, Nitro Kart, and Dallas Karting Complex and Sodi Kart. Again, a big thank you to those broadcast partners. We're going to have a lot of fun with them here this weekend. It's going to be great. EKN Live all weekend long. David Cole and Rob Howden will be live. We've got lots of social media coming on. Make sure you follow us so that we can dial everything up and get you guys really connected to what will be a fantastic event. It's going to be Championship Sunday, and we'll find out who's going to win those number 1 plates. David, any final words before we cap things off?
I'm ready to go to Newcastle again.
Well, yeah. Do you actually have a room at the Steve Alford All-American? Like, that's just your room?
No, because I've stayed in Greenfield the last 2 times.
All right.
So I had 2. So this will be my 3rd different hotel. Other than that, I probably could have stayed in Mike Adams' RV at the track. But
well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to shut this down, Dave. You got more work to do. We still got previews coming. Well, by the time you hear this, they'll already be out, but Dave's got lots of work to do. This is going to be a big weekend for us, folks. We're looking forward to getting to Newcastle once again. David, of course, is second home, but it will be the championship weekend for the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour at Newcastle. Thank you again for listening in. Again, subscribe on iTunes, the EKN Debrief. Lots more podcasts coming. But again, on behalf of David Cole, this has been Rob Howden, and it's a production of the EKN Radio Network.